You have a vision. You can see the finish line, the completed project, the version of yourself that has finally arrived. And the urge to tell anyone, is almost physical. You want to share the plan, the excitement, the potential. You think that by speaking it aloud, you are making it real. You think you are building accountability. But what if you are doing the exact opposite? What if every time you announce your intentions, you are actually sabotaging your ability to finish them? There is a quiet, dangerous trap in the way we broadcast our lives today. We are trading the power of our potential for the cheap dopamine of being perceived as successful before we have actually done the work. We live in an era of constant performance. From the moment we wake up, we are conditioned to document, to announce, and to broadcast. We treat our goals like press releases, assuming that if we declare our intentions to the world, we are somehow obligated to see them through. We call this accountability. But if you look closely at your own life, you might notice a pattern. The projects you talk about the most are often the ones that never quite cross the finish line. The ones you keep to yourself, however, seem to grow with a strange, quiet momentum. This isn't a coincidence. It is a psychological reality. Today, we are going to explore the strategic value of silence. We are going to look at why the loudest people in the room are rarely the ones building the future, and why the most profound changes in your life require you to stop talking and start executing. Think about the last time you told someone about a major goal you were pursuing. Maybe it was a new business venture, a fitness transformation, or a creative project. How did you feel the moment the words left your mouth? You likely felt a rush, a sense of relief, validation, and excitement. You felt like you had already begun the journey. But here is the problem: your brain is a master of efficiency, and it often confuses the feeling of success with the act of achieving it. When you announce a goal to the public, you receive a hit of social validation. People say, "That's amazing," or "I'm so proud of you." Your brain registers this as a reward. It interprets the praise as a signal that you have already reached a level of status or competence. Consequently, the internal tension that drives you to work, that nagging, uncomfortable feeling that you haven't done enough yet, dissipates. You have satisfied the need for accomplishment without actually accomplishing anything. This is the social reality trap. By making your goal public, you have effectively completed it in the eyes of your peers. The urgency to grind, to suffer through the tedious parts of the process, and to solve the inevitable problems that arise, vanishes. You have traded the substance of the work for the shadow of the applause. And once that initial excitement fades, you are left with the cold reality of a mountain still to climb, but with none of the internal fuel you need to start the ascent. Beyond the psychological trickery of the brain, there is a social dynamic at play that is far more destructive. It is what researchers often call the crab mentality. When you announce a goal, you are essentially signaling a change in your status. You are telling your social circle that you are moving towards something new, something that might transcend your current environment. Not everyone will be happy about this. Some people find your growth threatening because it highlights their own stagnation. They may not do it consciously, but they will begin to introduce doubt. They will offer constructive criticism that is actually just a projection of their own fears. They will ask, "Are you sure that's realistic, or have you considered how hard that will be?" When you share your plans, you invite the world to participate in your decision-making. You give people permission to weigh in on your vision. You open the door to skepticism, interference, and the emotional tax of having to defend your ideas before they are even fully formed. When you are in the early, fragile stages of a project, your conviction is not yet a fortress. It is a sapling. If you expose it to the harsh winds of public opinion too early, it will wither. You don't need a committee to validate your ambition. You need the space to let your work become undeniable. The Stoics understood that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your focus. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, frequently reminded himself that the opinion of others is a fleeting, unreliable metric. He believed that the only validation that matters is the alignment of your actions with your own nature and your own principles. The Stoics practiced the discipline of the inner citadel, a private, mental space that remains untouched by the noise of the outside world. They believed that by focusing on what is within our control, our judgments, our efforts, and our intentions, we become immune to the distractions of external approval. Think of the Stoic concept of prohairesis, or the faculty of choice. If you are constantly broadcasting your plans, you are effectively handing over the reins of your prohairesis to the public. You are making your success contingent on the applause or the validation of others. But true excellence is internal. It is the result of a quiet, relentless commitment to the task at hand. The Stoic does not ask for permission to succeed, and they do not ask for an audience to witness their struggle. They understand that the work itself is the reward. By keeping your intentions silent, you are practicing a form of mental asceticism. You are stripping away the vanity of the ego and replacing it with the raw, unadulterated power of action. So, how do you move from a state of performative talking to a state of strategic silence? It starts with a shift in your operating system. First, implement the inner circle rule. Your goals are precious. They are the seeds of your future. Do not cast them before the masses. Share your plans only with a mentor or a partner who is capable of providing high-level, objective feedback, someone who doesn't care about your ego, but cares about the integrity of your outcome. If you don't have that person, keep it to yourself. Second, focus on milestones, not intentions. Stop telling people what you are going to do. Instead, wait until you have a prototype, a finished draft, or a measurable result. When you finally speak, you won't be speaking from a place of fantasy, you will be speaking from a place of reality. You will be presenting a result that speaks for itself. This changes the entire dynamic of your social interactions. You move from being a person who talks about the future to a person who shapes it. Third, cultivate stealth mode. Treat your work like a secret garden. Spend your energy refining your strategy, observing your competitors, and perfecting your craft. Use the time you would have spent explaining yourself to others to instead gather information, sharpen your skills, and build your foundation. When you operate in silence, you become an enigma. You are no longer a target for the skeptics, and you are no longer a slave to the need for external validation. You become a person of action. What happens when you stop announcing your plans and start delivering results? The quality of your life shifts in ways you might not expect. You will notice, first, a massive increase in your cognitive bandwidth. You are no longer spending energy defending your ideas or managing the expectations of others. That energy is now redirected entirely into your work. You will find that you can work longer, deeper, and with more focus because you aren't leaking your motivation through social outlets. You will also find that your relationships become more authentic. When you aren't constantly seeking validation for your projects, you can actually connect with people for who they are, rather than for the role they play in your success narrative. You stop looking at your friends as an audience and start seeing them as human beings. Most importantly, you will develop a deep, unshakable trust in yourself. When you finish a project that no one knew you were working on, you realize that you didn't need anyone else's permission or praise to succeed. You realize that your own internal standard of excellence is the only one that matters. You become self-contained. You become a force of nature. Silence is not just the absence of speech. It is a strategic tool. It is the protective shell that allows your greatest ambitions to grow until they are strong enough to withstand the scrutiny of the world. By keeping your plans to yourself, you are reclaiming your agency. You are protecting your focus. You are ensuring that your psychological capital is spent on the only thing that truly matters, the work. Success is not a conversation. It is a conclusion. It is the point where your preparation meets your opportunity. Do not dilute your power by spreading it thin across a dozen conversations. Keep your own counsel. Do the work in the shadows, and let the results announce themselves in the light. I want to leave you with this question. What is the one goal you have been talking about for months, perhaps years, that you have yet to actually achieve? I want you to make a commitment today. For the next 30 days, I want you to go completely silent on that goal. Don't post about it. Don't tell your friends about it. Don't seek validation for it. Take that energy, all of it, and pour it into the work. See what happens when you stop performing for an audience and start performing for yourself. You might be surprised at how much faster you move when no one is watching.